Hello, beautiful people. Welcome. And this is your first time here. Welcome back if you are a returning supporter. If you could be so kind at any time during this conversation, if you are enjoying what is being talked about, if you are looking forward to more conversations, you should definitely hit that subscribe button. I will greatly appreciate that. Sorry, I had to make sure that we had sound because usually I forget to press the mic on. Anyways, thank y'all for joining me for tonight's conversation. We're talking about emotional blackmail. I'm going to go ahead and get my disclaimers out of the way. And my disclaimers are I do not tolerate disrespect in any way, shape, form, or fashion that is towards me, that is towards anyone that appears on the screen or in the chat. I feel like we have survived our own lives as well as a global fucking pandemic, monkeypox, Ebola, polio, the high STD rates. If you haven't decided to be happy or live your life for the better, then this is not the place that you should be. There will be curse words, there will possibly be tears. My opinions are my opinions, and your opinions are your opinions. And we have this safe space of nurturing conversations so that we can have a conversation surrounding our opinions. I am not a mental health professional. I am just one woman willing to share my personal experiences to let you know two things. One, you can overcome anything that life throws at you. And two, you are not alone. A lot of times when we go through situations in our lives, we feel like we are alone. No one else has ever experienced, thought, or did the things that we have done. However, this is why I created Nurturing Conversations so that we could talk about things like this. I feel like if more people talk and share their experiences, a lot more people wouldn't have to walk down those roads. I know everybody has a path that they have to walk down, but a lot of things can be avoided if people share their experiences, or a lot of things can be overcome if people share their experiences. Um, what else I got? I'm not a mental health professional. I'm gonna make sure I say that. I'm just someone that's wanting to talk about things that people don't really talk about. So tonight's topic is emotional blackmail. A lot of these topics that I choose come from just different experiences I had in life, and maybe you will identify with them, maybe you won't, but we're here to have a conversation. So, if anytime you feel like you want to jump in the conversation or you have something to say, feel free to type it in the chat. I want to test out. This whole thing is a test for me to see if I could actually do it and if you guys will actually interact with it. But I want to test bringing other people on screen. I'm actually using a new software, a program. So you might see some things happening. That's because I'm testing out different features. But thank you all for tuning in. I want to start by defining, or one of the definitions that I felt like didn't like fluff up the words when you talk about emotional blackmail. So it says a manipulation style where someone uses your feelings as a way to control your behavior or persuade you to do things their way. Now, I'm sure at some point we have all experienced. I know you probably sitting there like, I ain't never, nobody ain't ever. If your mother ever told you to clean up and she will take you anywhere, yeah, I know you probably don't want to believe that, but that's a form of emotional blackmail. I laughed when I thought about that because I was like, man, I remember times when I remember. So I'm not going to say there's like positive and negatives or good or bad. I'm just going to say there's a lot of times, I'm sure you, I just said that, you can think about several other times. But there are six different, there's a therapist by the name of, hold on, I wrote her name down, Dr. Susan Forward. And there's also another therapist by the name of, of course, therapy is one of the things that I encourage people to do, by Erica Myers. And so Dr. Erica Myers, I can't talk right now, uh, put together six specific stages of emotional blackmail, or how people emotionally manipulate others to do the things that they want them to do. And I feel like this conversation is important because a lot of times in our life, or I will speak from me because that's all I can speak from is me, and you could chime in with your personal experiences. But a lot of times in my life, I was one of those people where you could guilt me to do something. Like you could be like, oh, but I thought you loved me, or I thought I meant something to you, like things like that. And then to be like, but you do mean something to me. So now I feel like I have to. Like if I don't, I will feel bad if I didn't do the things that you asked me. And so as I was looking at this, I'm going to let y'all know right now, I have notes. I might not like stick to the notes because you know me, I like to talk, but I realized like as I'm going through the different reading the different things, and I'm like, oh my god, I have been guilt me all the time. You ever go to like the grocery store and you pull up to the little island? I don't know if they do this where you live, but where I live, there's like islands before you get ready to turn, and there's people standing there with a sign, and it's like you read the sign, and some people have really good, like there's this one guy, he has a really good one. He said, I just need money to buy, pharmaceutical things. And so that, it wasn't sad for me, but it was like he was honest. So let me make sure that I, contribute to him. But sometimes those signs be sad. And it's like you look at that person and you think about, man, what if I was in that situation? Or, man, let me help them because, they don't have. But it's like people use guilt. They use guilt. They use fear. I'm not gonna if you leave out that door, I'm not gonna be here. That's a form of emotional manipulation. If it's so many different things as I'm reading and I'm taking notes, and I'm just like, holy cow, I would have never thought that was like emotional blackmail. And I guess they termed it emotional blackmail because we don't think about it. We don't think like our mother saying, "Oh, if you don't," we think because that's our mother, they're gonna make sure we eat, or our parents, we think they're gonna make sure we eat. But if they're like, "Oh, if you clean up, I'll take you to McDonald's," and you just, they was probably gonna do that anyways, but they use that so that you can clean up. For me, um, there there are multiple different ways uh, which people use emotional blackmail as a way to punish people. Now, I know I said I'm not going to say positive or negative, but the majority of times I could say this is used, or often when this is used, is so that other people can get their advantage over the person that they're dealing with. Some, it may appear in the form of withholding affection, disappointment, and shift in body language. Like, you ever ask somebody, could you use their car? And instead of them being like, no, like this is one thing that really bothers me. It doesn't bother me as much now because I understand, but it used to really bother me because like when I'm like a person that likes to conversate, right? If you can't tell, you will know by the end of this conversation. If I like say, hey, can I use your car? The likelihood of me asking to use your car, but if I say, hey, can I use your car? I would expect you to either say yes or no. That's just me. Maybe that's not you, but again, that's just me. But sometimes people have a hard time telling people no because they, one, are going to respond in a negative manner. Two, they're going to respond with the, well, when I had a car, I let you do. Or three, they're just not comfortable telling people yes or no. So when I started to read and understand more about like the different stages of emotional blackmail, I was just like, holy cow, like I think I experienced all of these stages. Because again, if you ask me to use my car and I'm like, I don't trust you putting gas in it or anything like that, automatically I'm not gonna go into no long explanation. I'm gonna say no. If you ask me why, I may give you an explanation. It's just like, no. You ever be like, man, come right here with me. If you ride here with me, I'll make sure you ever have somebody want you to come out with them because they really want to go out. And they're like, oh, if you come out with me, girl, I got you. Don't even trip. I got drinks. I got food, whatever. Come out with me. And you in your mind like, man, I really don't want to go. And they're like, girl, you said you was gonna go out last time, and then you thinking about last time what you didn't do, and then you like, man, I feel guilty because I did say I was gonna come last time. So now you're going, and then something happens, and then what's the first thing we always say? I should have followed my first mind. Now I'm gonna start coughing all of a sudden. Weird. Anyways, so I'm just sitting here like, it is so much, so many things that we don't even think about regularly because, like, I gave this analogy before. It's like, your family members treated you like shit. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they love you. But if you are coming from a family where they treat you like shit, you're like, okay, I'm gonna set a boundary. I'm not gonna go. I need to think about myself. I need to think about my safety, my heart. I need to think about me. Just think about me. And then your mom or someone you look up to call you and say, why are you not at the family barbecue? Why are you not at Thanksgiving? Why are you not over here? You know they gonna miss you. That's your mother or that's your brother. That's the thing that always get us, right? And then we get filled with guilt, like, well, that is my mother and that is my brother or that's my father or that's my family member. And I don't want them to feel like, and then at the same time, you are putting your entire existence, your feelings, you putting everything that has to do with you, your safety, everything. I'm saying safety, not in the sense that something potentially physically could harm you, but like safety where you're not comfortable in who you are or what you're doing. But you're putting all that in jeopardy just so that your face can be seen in an event or a space where you're really uncomfortable, but just to make other people happy, you will go. It's a form of emotional blackmail. When I tell you, I'm gonna give y'all 6 stages of an emotional blackmail, and you're going to say you might not identify with all 6, but guarantee you, I can guarantee you. How can you guarantee? Because if you have parents or you have older siblings, I'm sure this was used. Hey, if you don't tell mom that I'm sneaking out, you can play my video game. I'm telling you, it's so many different. Hold on. Celery juice. Been drinking it all day. But there's so many different forms of it where it becomes so normalized. That's a new word. Everybody's like, normalize this, normalize that. It's become so normalized that it's a part of our everyday life. So let me jump off into these 6 different stages because I'm not trying to be here all day. The first the first stage is demand. And that's where people like try to demand who you hang out with or demand you to do things without like directly. Sometimes it's directly. Sometimes you got people that's just real bold like that directly. Like, I don't think you should hang out with so and so anymore. Or I don't like the way so and so looks at you. I don't like the way they talk to you. And so now you never really paid attention to it. Like right now, I'm talking about emotional blackmail. You probably never really paid attention to it, but I'm pretty sure once you leave this conversation, you'll be like, let me think about. So anyways, so it's often disguised as them caring, people caring about you, right? I don't think we should talk to so and so because they look at you like you're slow, or you're not smart enough, or they don't look at you like, and you know how I look at you, but they don't look at you like that. And so then when you start talking to other people, now this thing has been deposited in the back of your head. So now you looking at the other person like, yeah, they don't talk to me like that. Yeah, they don't look at me like that. Yeah, they don't. And now you're formulating things off of something that someone who really probably they don't really care. Because if they did, they wouldn't try to emotionally blackmail you, right? Um, they do it in a sense where they could exert their control. Like, yeah. And then once you start thinking like, man, they don't respect me, they don't think about me, they don't love me, they don't call me, they don't text me, and now you're feeling the kind of way about someone who really do care, but the person that put that bug in your ear, they just want you all to themselves, and not like in a relationship way, but they want to exert control over you. Number 2. This one is one that I mentioned before. Like, I was just like, I didn't even think about it like that, but it's resistance. It's when you don't want to do what they want and they push back. Like, uh, maybe you ask, hey, can I stay at your house? Right? They know they don't want you to stay at their house. They make up all kinds of excuses, or they tell you like, you got an open bedroom. Like the example the lady used, she was like, if you have an open bedroom at your house and your friend's like, oh, I need a place to stay, and you looking for a roommate, and your friend's like, oh, I need a place to stay because I just got put out or whatever, and then you are thinking like, okay, this is my friend, but you're also looking like, okay, I need to pay these bills. I got bills to pay. And then you're like, well, should I do? And your friend hits you with the, man, I have nowhere to go, or where I'm going to go, where I'm going to lay my head. Man, my life is just so bad right now. And so then what is that? That's guilt. You're feeling guilty because you're like, man, you are my friend. You did look out for me that one time at band camp. I don't know. I just threw that in. You did look out for me that one time. So let me just go ahead and let you stay. Or if you say, no, I'm really trying to rent this room out because I really need money, you telling them like, hey, I really need to rent this room out because I need money to help me pay my bills. And your friend don't offer money for bills. It's like, well, I thought we were friends. I thought you cared about me. I would have thought, you had that extra room back there. You would have just let me stay. Y'all mean to tell me you ain't never? I would have thought you had all that food in your refrigerator. You would have gave me something. I I would have thought, it's you turning up. You got a bottle. I could have at least got a shot. Like I don't I don't know about y'all, but our real life was thinking like, man, I didn't even I didn't even know like I didn't even know to think about stuff like that, and I didn't even know. And now that I'm starting to think about it, it's like, whoa. I've had a lot of these experiences. Number 3 is pressure. Pressure? Hey, keep your eyes on me. Not that kind of pressure, but pressure where um they will like whatever they want. Like say they want you to let them use your car. It's pressure. Is I'm only thinking about, listen, you said you're tired, you don't want to go out, but I'll go out and I'll get us something to eat and I'll come back. So now it's like you getting a benefit because they using your car, and they double winning, but you getting a benefit because you're like, man, I really don't want to go out. And then they like, oh, that so now now it make it seem like you made the suggestion, like you're like, oh yeah, you thought of it. And most people, when we think of something, we make it seem like we thought about it. We didn't think about it. They thought about it because they is like, yeah, because they gonna let me use their car if I say I'm gonna go get them something to eat, or I'm gonna drop their kids off, or I put gas. Ooh, that used to get me all the time. I put gas in your car, especially if you know that you low on funds. You in that in between time when your next deposit hit, and they was like, yeah, I'm gonna put gas, and so you all excited, and they use your car and come back and ain't no gas. It's not even like halfway where it was, like it's less, and then they be like, oh, I forgot I ain't have time, then run me my money, and then they'd be like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta wait, and then you don't see them for a long time. I'm telling y'all, it's so many things, so, so many things I started to think about. Um, this where, man, um, I'm just going around the corner. I'm just going up the street. It's just like the small, as they say, small, subtle things where you wouldn't even think about it because you wouldn't think that the person would be emotionally blackmailing you. Like I'm gonna keep saying emotional blackmail because we don't really think about it like that. We just be like, oh, that's just my mama. That's my sister, brother. Oh, that's just my friend. She crazy. She always be all the time. Or bro always been like that all the time. But you never really think about how much it affects. Then you have, these are the real bold people. You have threats. This is where I said earlier, where it's like, if you walk out that door, I'm not going to be here when you get back. You ever been in a relationship and somebody told you that? I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing because I have been in a relationship and somebody told me that. And I just thought like, but I'm only going to the store to get us some food. Like in my mind, I just couldn't comprehend why like that would be a thing. Like I didn't know that was a real thing. Or you ever heard somebody be like, oh, you ain't gonna buy me this? I bet you so and so will buy it. Bet you so and so will buy it. Oh, you ain't gonna do this? I bet you so and so. Like what people always be like, what one person won't do, another one will. What? It's like these are actual threats, like they're considered threats, but we don't consider them as threats. So we be looking at people like, girl, bye, or boy, bye, or yeah, right, okay. And then we start to, it's always like fear, guilt. It's always those things because now they done put the seed in your head. So now you like, man, but what if they not gonna be here? You ever go out and be like, have somebody tell you that, and you go out thinking like, yeah, I'm about to have a good time, but in the back of your head, it's like, is they really not gonna be there? I wonder. I wonder if they really not, if they gonna really leave. Could they possibly? But then you know those people that you've been with for a long time. Oh, they definitely out of there. They definitely. Those are known as direct and indirect. Direct and indirect threats. Oh, I got it out without stuttering. Number 5 um, is compliance. Like the scenarios I just gave. You don't want them to leave you. You don't want them to not, withhold that good thing. We'll say that. You don't want them to do that. So you do whatever they ask you to do. You want to go out and kick it with the guys, but because she feeling like she wanted to be at home, you just stay at home. Hey, bro, I'm gonna come out next week. Or you want to go out with the girls, and he like, oh no, I just need you to. But the likelihood, well, anyways, you like, oh no, I just need to go out and kick it, and he like, but you did that last week, and you looking like, but at this time, I just want to go out. I just need to hang out with my girls. I need to be surrounded by them. And he like, well, if you do that, then I'm gonna go with the guys. Now it's like tick for tack, and y'all emotionally blackmailing each other. For me, I was just tripped out at how many things that was on this list that I have experienced. There's been times where I didn't want to. You ever been in a situation where you're like, I don't want to argue. Let me just go ahead and stay at home. Or I don't want to hear it, or I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in a spot where we arguing about something it makes no sense. So you just go ahead and give in. And then it's like peaceful until the next time. And it's like, well, last time you just stayed at home, and you thinking like, well, last time you was really on my ass. And so I was just like, yeah, let me go ahead and stay. And number 6, I know it seemed like I went through this list really fast. I'm trying to stay on task. I'm giving y'all the list. Of course, I'm going to repeat the list, but I'm going to talk about some other personal experiences I had. I just want to make sure that you understand the list. Like you understand that there's people who really took time out of their life and studied these things. And emotional blackmail is a real thing, like a real thing. Number 6 is repetition. Ooh. Repetition. It's like, well, you did it last time. Last time I asked you to stay, you did. And then repetition, then it's just guilt, and then there's the threat, and then all of these. Like some people are really talented where they can hit you with a combination of all 6 at the same time. I don't know if you ever been hit with one of those, but I'm gonna tell you all about it in just a minute. I never realized that there are 6 states. I never realized any of this. I've never realized. Didn't even think about it until I started thinking, like reading it. I was just like, wait a minute. I remember that one time, or wait a minute, that real life happened to me. And then it makes you more aware. I was going to say cautious, but it's not cautious. It makes you more aware of how easy it is for people to emotionally blackmail us. I was just saying, like, I was telling somebody earlier, I was like, your mother ever told you that if you cleaned up, she was going to give you this? Like, you already get an allowance, right? You already know on this day, I'm going to get my allowance, right? But it was like, oh, if you clean this up, if you do this, you get an extra allowance. And you're not thinking like, oh, it's not really going to be extra, because next week they're going to be like, you remember last week I had gave you? Your parents ever did that to you? You remember last week I had gave you, and now you thinking like, but no, that shouldn't count. But they like, well, it did. And now you sitting over here like, I bet you the next time you ask me to clean up, or I bet you the next time you ask me to do something, I ain't with it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You got the people that's like, you got the people that's like real. I When I think about emotional blackmail, I don't think like, I never thought of any of these things. I never thought about people that like, I thought you loved me. I never thought about that as being a form of manipulation. I never thought about that. I never thought about it affecting anything. I mean, I never thought it would actually affect me. But now that I think about it, it has multiple ways. Multiple ways. Like, think about the people who like aren't used to hearing the word no. So if you tell them no, like, example, right? You ever had somebody, you just out and about and people see you, give you a compliment, you're like, okay, cool, thank you, you're beautiful, okay, cool, thank you. And then the compliment turns into, can I get your number? You're like, no, cool, I'm good, I'm in a relationship, or I'm single on a journey of healing and self-discovery. And they're like, oh, okay, well, you can't have friends. Like, it just keeps progressing up to a level. And I was telling somebody, like, at this point in my life, um I'm not with guilt anymore. Like, I don't mind losing people. I don't mind like people not hanging out or coming around or being invited places. I don't even mind. Again, as I stated in the beginning, we survived a global fucking pandemic. Let me tell y'all what I survived. I survived COVID. I survived the death of my father, my mother getting sick. I survived a level 1 trauma surgery. I survived a cancer scare. I survived polyps on my vocal cords. You think that I am going to sit here and allow someone to emotionally blackmail me out of being happy? It's a no. It is a no for me. It is so messed up that people will have to resort to playing with your emotions instead of just being honest or having a conversation with you. I began to think about things like this, and I was like, I would never. I called my brother the other day and I was like, I'm your only sister. But I never even thought about the fact that I was their only sister. But I was like, I'm your only sister because I felt some kind of way because I haven't talked to him in a minute. And usually we talking like every day. So I felt some kind of way. I was like, brother. Or he called me. He was like, well, you are my only sister, so I should call and check up on you. And I was like, yeah, I am your only sister. That's when it dawned on me. And I was like, yeah, I am your only sister. I don't know why I never even thought to use that. Like, you don't have any other sisters, because people will play on that all day. I've seen, hmm, I've seen people that actually play on other people's emotions like that. But me, it's like, no. Like my nephew, Mateo's like, you're my only aunt. And I was like, wait, what? I am your only aunt. So for me, that's like a badge of honor. I'm the only one. I'm the only one. I don't like use that to my advantage. Now, had it been back in the days when I was younger, if I would have known that, no, I'm just playing. But I don't use that to my advantage. I'm not, I've been taken advantage of. I don't know what your situation is, but I'll tell you mine. I've been taken advantage of, and that feeling did not sit well with me. It did not feel great to me. So for me, I don't want anyone else to experience that feeling. So I won't put myself in a position where I have to be like, if you love me, you would do this. I will never. Do you know how many times I heard that in the situation that I was in? It's a no for me. If you say no, no means no for me. If you say I can't have, it means that I can't have. I'm not going to ask you 50 million times. I'm not going to tell you, oh, I really need this, or, oh, my life ain't going to be the same if you don't. I'm not going to tell you any of that. I just learned to accept at an early age. I learned to accept life for being what it is. If you said no, I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to do something extra spectacular for you can give it to me. I just accepted it as no. Someone was like, or they was asking me today, it was like, what kind of childhood did you have? I was like, well, I actually had a really dope childhood until I went to church. But other than that, it was a really dope childhood. Like, we had all the video games. um, food, clothes. We like had our own brand of shoes. Like I thought we was. I literally, let me tell you, I literally thought we was rich, and that's mainly because anybody that came to our house always left with like a care package. And I probably shouldn't say it like a care package, but that's what I thought of it as when I was growing up. Like that's how I wanted to be in my life. You know, like everybody's like, I don't want to be like my mother. I don't want to be like my parents. I watched my mother like give. Hi, Alice. I watched my mother give. I watched my mother care. I watched my mother like give everything she had to ensure that people were okay, that they were fed, that they were clothed. I watched her do all of those things. And I knew like I'm not with the manipulation. I'm not being in relationships. I was never the one like, oh, if you love me, you would do this. I was never, no. I don't know. I think maybe my situations that I endured in life put me in a position where I'm not doing that. I will quickly say, I am not doing that. I'm not going. I literally told my friend this morning, I said, I completely understand when they say, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. At first, you'd be thinking, like, what the fuck? Who the fuck people? Nope. But as a 42-year-old woman, I completely understand that. I've been silent a many a days since 40. A many a days. You know, like some things you want to talk about, but it's like, you know what? It's not even worth it. I didn't, I, in my younger years, would have hopped on it. I would have said all kinds of things, but now I understand. I understand. I'm not going to emotionally blackmail you to do anything because that's just like for me lying. Like, I'm not going to lie because I'm number one. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to remember it. I'm not. I might have told you something I'm not going to remember. So I just tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth and I'll take the consequences with it. That's just where I'm at in my life. All that I just survived, I would rather tell you the truth and take the consequences with it. Before I get ready to do anything, I make sure in myself, are whatever the consequence, are you able to accept that? And sometimes I like to walk on the wild side. Not anymore, but I used to like to walk on the wild side. Yeah, whatever happens, happens. Now, as a 42-year-old, since I've been 40, it's a no for me. I'm not walking on the dangerous side. I'm not doing any of that because the first most important thing for me is being okay with myself. I don't know how anyone that is doing any of these demanding resistance, pressure, um, any of these things that in regards to emotional blackmail, I don't know how you sleep at night. Like, how do you sleep knowing that you blackmail somebody into being in a relationship with you or buying you something or doing something for you? How do you sleep? You know, like one day they will wake up and be like, "Oh, you weren't here for me. You here for the benefit of me." Hmm. Benefit of me. You here for the benefit of me. The benefit that you get that comes with me. I never wanted to be like, I'm gonna be if you don't do what I want you to do, and I'm gonna be silent. You ever had that? You ever been in a relationship and you were talking to somebody and they just looking at you like, and you like, what's going on? What's wrong? What's going on? What's wrong? What I say, what I do, and then they're not responding. And then later on, like in the day, like you ever, this how people be getting them like, are you hungry? I don't know what it is about food, but that changes everything. Are you hungry? You could be mad as hell's fire. But when they say hungry, you be like, I guess I get something to eat. I guess I could eat. And then what you want to eat? I don't know, whatever you bring. Like you got an attitude, but then when you like calm down or the other person is calm and then it's like, well, I just wanted you to do, and in my mind I just be thinking like, why didn't you just say that? I have this whole podcast for nurturing conversations because I'd be like, why don't people just say this shit? Why don't people just be like, I don't have to talk. Although she is my mother or he is my father and they brought me into this world, I don't have to talk to them. I don't have to go to every family function. I don't have to participate. I don't have to because number one, I never felt safe. I didn't feel safe or whatever your situation is, you do know that you don't have to go to the family function, right? But of course, people will guilt us into going because they'd be like, that's your mama. You should let go of grudges and you shouldn't be bitter and all of these different things. But that's only to guilt you into going. And you're sitting at home battling, like, man, I really don't want to go. And then if you are a parent, I'm going to talk to you. If you're a parent, see how my voice came down? I don't know what that's about. But if you are a parent, if you know that you do not like going to certain situations because of the emotional trauma that it puts, the emotional space, I'll say, emotional space that it puts you in, why would you subject your children to that same environment? I know you probably thinking like, oh, it's going to be different, but cheetahs never change their colors. Leopards never, I think it's leopards. I just put cheetahs in there, but it's whatever it is, never changes spots, whatever it is. They don't change. Of course, we want people to change. We do. We want them to change. We hoped. We give them the benefit of doubt and of them changing. We that's what we want. We look forward to people doing that. But the likelihood of people actually changing, especially when there is no consequences for the actions that they display, they're not gonna do it. You ever notice like people when people get caught cheating, they don't really apologize because they sincerely mean that they got caught. They don't apologize for that. They apologize because they got caught. Especially if they've been doing it for a long time, they only apologizing because they got caught. And because then I'll say this, right? If you know that you stepping out on your relationship or doing whatever it is that you're doing, you already know it's wrong. You know that. Think about it. If you are the person that's being cheated on or being cheated with, like you know that this person is in a relationship and you're like, and they're telling you all is good, I, I don't know how this happens, but there's people that they could say, I know that they're married. I know that they're in a relationship. I know that they got a baby on the way. I know like they will say these things, but I still decided to do that anyways. Huh? How do you know that you're the other woman, but you're okay with that? Like, what kind of society that we live in that we are okay with being the other person, knowing that that person will be going back home to their main? That sounds so weird to say that be going back home to their main person. Think about think about all the people, all the many times like we allowed situations to happen because we didn't want to let somebody else down. You were hurting yourself because you didn't want to let somebody else down. So cute. Sorry, y'all. That was my nephew. Think about it though. Think about how many times you went to a place or how many times you got into a situation where you just like, I'm not really. You ever like was had a one night stand? I don't know if they still call that now, but I don't know. But you ever been with somebody and you're like, this is cool. We doing adult situationships. Oh, it's cool. And then the other person start catching feelings. And at the beginning of all of that, you was like, no, we not catching no feelings. We not doing no. We know this is platonically. This is what it is. And then it's like, so we gonna be together. And then you be in a relationship with them and you realize like y'all are really not compatible. But then they keep saying things to you and you're like, well, we was doing this, but we're not compatible. I have all brothers, and I'm not saying my brother's business, but I'm telling y'all some of the things that I've heard before, where it's like, oh well, he said he was gonna do this. Like when there's like married men or married people that be cheated, and they be like, well, he said he's gonna leave his wife. What? He been with her for how many years? He not gonna leave her. You are just excitement for the moment. And then they buy you. There's the buying of things. There's the giving money. There's the showing you off or all of that. For me, that's a form of emotional blackmail. I think they should have put that on there. I'm showing you off. I'm giving you all the love and yes. What happened? You bleeding?
Yeah.
Where?
Homie
Oh my God. Um,
Whoa.
I can't pull it. Ask your daddy to pull it. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Here. Sorry, y'all. He hit his toe. Ask your daddy to pull it. It's got to be stronger. You need somebody stronger to pull it off. He hit his toe and split it. Uh, you got it? Sorry, y'all. I'm tending to my nephew. You come here. Let me see. You got it? Do it hurt? He said it. He split his toenail in half. Ugh, it's bleeding. Uh, I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be. You okay? I don't know. Since I had surgery, like I used to, I wanted to be a doctor, a pediatrician to be exact. And now I'd be all squeamish, like with blood or anything. It's just like, whew, I was trying to keep it. Ooh, I was trying to keep it because I would have. Uh, I don't know. It's so weird now. Oh, so weird. Sorry, y'all. me Let me gather myself. Whew. Ooh, we. Okay, I'm back. Ooh, if y'all could have saw, I was split. Ugh, I was split. He's really taking care of it right now. I told him to go tell his daddy, but he's really taking care of it. And, um, back to emotional blackmail. I just keep saying the split toe on my face. Anyways, back to emotional blackmail. Right? You ever been you ever been in a relationship and someone was like, "It's my way or the highway"? I'm laughing, right? Cause at one point in time I was in a relationship with someone and this individual was like, "Yeah, it's my way or the highway," and I laughed because I thought it was like a joke. Like I'm laughing right now. I real life thought it was a joke because again I wasn't paying attention to stuff like that. I didn't your way or the highway like you brush it off like yeah okay okay we gonna do it your way or the highway. Even that is a threat. Now that I'm thinking about it, like yeah that was a threat. That was like yeah it's a no for me. I real life I real life laughed it off. Cause I was just thought like if we're in a relationship, it should be like 100, 100. I know people like 50-50. I just think I'm gonna give my all, you should give your all, and there we go. But as I think about it, like I would be apologizing for all kinds of stuff. Like I would be apologizing, and then I'm reading there like if you're frequently apologizing for things that you're not doing, like if the person is mad and they just snap out or something and you like oh I'm sorry that you're having a bad day and then I start to think to myself why am I sorry I didn't you walked in the house and you were upset I didn't do anything to make you upset and that's where even like it, outside of my relationships in like my everyday life is like okay if that person made you upset don't take out your frustrations on me. Take it out on whoever made you upset. But then I get the whole people don't like confrontation. People don't like confrontation. I welcome it. I It's because I like to talk, but I welcome it. I love a good conversation. I do. I want you to come and say you felt this kind of way because I'm gonna ask you why did you feel like that? Why did you think like? Why didn't you just ask me? Why didn't you just I don't know. I just be want to know. So I would ask. I would ask. A lot of times I was so, hey, you be asking a lot of questions, but I just be want to know, you know? The only way I will know is if you tell me. I can guess, I can assume making an ass out of you and me, but no, I would rather ask you. I would rather ask you. I'm not going to go, I really just realized in my life about setting healthy boundaries. I'm reading a book. I can't remember the book right now, but I'll tell y'all the book. I'll post it on my community tab. But I'm reading a book about setting boundaries. And in the book, she was like, yeah, you should set healthy boundaries with your family. It's like, you don't think that you're supposed to set boundaries with your family because they're your family. You ever heard your mama say some stuff that was just like damaging to you, but then you was just like, well, that's just my mother. But in reality, had somebody else said that, you probably would have whooped their ass. You probably would have, came back with a quick. But because that's your mama, you're not going to do that because it's respect and all of those things. I get it. Completely understand. That's where you set that healthy boundary. If you can't talk to me like as though I'm you, I don't want you to talk to me. Or you don't have the privilege of talking to me. Think about how life would be if more people set that boundary. If more people would tell like their baby mothers, baby fathers, or people that they would tell their brothers and sisters, like, hey, you're not gonna keep disrespecting me. You're not gonna keep like that's why I started this. Like, I don't tolerate disrespect in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And I every day purposely walk in a manner where I'm not out here trying to disrespect you. I don't like I said, your opinion is your opinion, my opinion is my opinion. We're here to have a conversation. I would love to understand your opinion and why you think the way you do or why you feel the way you do. And I'm going to ask you about it cuz I want to know. I want to know I want to know why you think the way you think. I want to know how you came to that conclusion. I want to know everything. My way or the highway. I'm real life just tripping off of when I was reading that. I'm telling you, I was like, I had I had people, hey, you gonna do it like this? No, it's a no. I realized that I'm really stubborn. I think I realized that 2 years ago that I'm stubborn, and not in the sense of stubborn where people can't tell me shit or anything like that. It's just like if I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it. I don't care how much money, how much whatever you put in my face to tell me, oh, this is a great benefit for you. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. I realize that. I realize that about myself. If I don't want to go, I'm not going. I don't care if you say it's all expensive. I don't want to go. I'm not going. And I would lay out why I don't want to do it, and I would hope that you respect my, you know, but sometimes people don't care. They just think, "Oh, I'm buying you a round trip ticket," and it's like I don't want to go. You probably should have asked me before you spent your money, but I guess you thought that because it was you, or you thought because I don't know what you thought. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. No more guilt. No more. Oh, that's your brother. That's your cousin. That's your no. Like when people be like, you won't never call me. You won't never. We ain't friends no more. We ain't good because you don't never call me. And I'm like, listen, I'll be texting people. If you know me, if you got my number or you talk to me anytime, I'll be the first to text. Grand Rising. Hope that you have a beautiful day. Good evening, good afternoon. I'll be texting, hey, just checking in to see how you go. I'll be doing it. That's like me, real life, every day. You can ask anybody that got my number or I talk to. That's me. I don't try to do it every day as much because people be you know but when I don't do it like a week ago and I like a week of it'll be a week, right? And I'll like text somebody like 2 times out of the week. They'll be like, hey, is everything okay? You good? Because I only got 2 texts this week. And I'm like, no, I just didn't want to overwhelm you with. They're like, no, I look forward to your text. So I'm like, okay, cool. Grandwise asking people how their day was. I remember when I was little and I used to go to my grandma's house for Sunday dinners. I know that sounds cliche, but we used to be at my grandma's house for Sunday dinners and we would sit around the table and she would literally ask like, how was our day? How was our week? How are you? You're welcome. He's so He's so cute. I'm sorry, y'all. He gets me every time. The other day, I asked him to do something, and he said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "Actually, he was doing something, and I said, 'Don't do it.'" And then he said, "Yes, ma'am." And I said, "Wait, what?" He said, "Yes, ma'am." And I forgot all about what I was saying to him because he said, "Yes, ma'am." He emotionally blackmailed me. But he's so cute. He looked just so cute when he was just like, "Oh," and then I'm not the type to I don't discipline. I can't say I don't discipline them. Well, I don't. I don't physically discipline kids. I'm more of the auntie that's gonna sit down and tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you why. I feel the way that I feel, and I'm going to, offer you an alternative. Um, I like to let people know that they have options. You ever been in a situation where you did not feel like you had options, so you felt like this is the only choice, so you just went with your only choice? Not me. I know that in every situation, there's options. And I'm grateful for growing up in a family that provided me with that vision. That provided me with that vision. Um, I think um, I think manipulation is so normalized that we don't even bat an eye at it. Like I said, like our parents manipulated us into doing a lot of things. Like, have you ever wanted to join the chess club, but your parents was like, "Oh no, you gotta play basketball or volleyball or something." It's like they had dreams and hopes and aspirations and it didn't work for them. And then I went to college, right? When I was in college, I was there. Like I said, I was studying because I wanted to be a pediatrician. And then one day I just woke up. It wasn't literally like overnight, but it was like, I really love music. And so I'm just going to focus on doing music. And so my friends are like, "How did you do that? Like, how does your parents feel about, you changing your mind?" I could never do something like that. And then they tell me why. It's like because their grandfathers, fathers, and their fathers, and their lineage is like police officers, doctors, or lawyers, or nurses, and all of those things. And it's just like, man, here I was thinking I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Let me just do it. Like I thought everybody had the option to think for themselves. That's what I call it. But I thought that everybody had the option to just live. But then I started to realize that people don't. Like they would be in there like, "Man, I wish I could take this." And so, where you had electives, so they would take it as elective. And their parents even would even ask them about the elective. And I was like, "Ooh, I couldn't live a life like that where it's just always constant. Like you gotta go this path. You gotta follow the path that we laid out for you." And this is where I be talking to parents. Like, I get that you want the best for your child. I get that. At the same time, I get as a child or as a human being, I'm not gonna think like you. Like where I said, maybe your child wants to play chess or maybe they want to do gymnast, but because you had hopes, dreams, and aspirations of being the next NBA, NFL, whatever it is, you putting them in all of this stuff. Like, well, I'm gonna put them in it so they'll be busy, or I'm gonna put them in it so they. And it's like, but what if they don't want to do that? What if they want to cook? What if they want to go to culinary school? You know how many people I know like that was going to be like they were studying biology and they were studying chemistry and doing all of those things, and then they were like, but their passion is in cooking or writing songs or acting or it's some of the creative things, like that's their passion. And people's like, why would you give up a career for something? But if you are not a creative, I'm going to say this. If you're not a creative, I don't think you can understand the passion that it has. Like, I spoke on a panel on Monday, and I took this entire week to reflect on the panel that I spoke on Monday. I told y'all there was going to be tears. I took the entire week to speak on, to reflect on speaking on the panel. And I thought about a time where I would have never agreed to speak on the panel, I would have never like felt like I was good enough to actually be on the panel. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have never felt like that. And I would have felt bad because I'm like, oh, there's other people that should be speaking and all of the guilt, like all of these things will go through me. And then this time around, I took hey, yes, I'll be there. And then I actually went and then I'm speaking, and then it's like people are actually listening to me. And you're probably like, people, well, I told the story before. I forgot on which one of the lives, but I told the story before. Like the situations that happened to me, I was sexually abused as a child by an authority figure. And so, I told, hey, this is what happened to me, and nobody listened and nobody did anything. So I internalized everything, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to stop talking. I'm going to stop sharing my feelings. I'm going to stop expressing myself. And like I said, like guilt was a big thing. Like they would always be saying like, oh man, you see this, and I would just feel so bad. You ever like see somebody that you really want to help, but you feel bad because you can't help them? Like I feel so bad. Like I that's why like when I go out now, like I go to the store, I get like individual, like, the big boxes of chips or things like that. Or I have a case of water in my truck because I'm like, I don't have money like that where I can just be given every time. Because I'm telling you, every time, like every island, there is someone standing with a sign. And I realized that I would just be broke because I'd be giving all the time. So what I started doing is keeping little things, like I have a little console right here on the side. It's an armrest. It's in the armrest. So I keep little snacks and stuff in there. So now when I pull up, I just give them a little bag with like chips and fruit snacks and stuff. And I feel good because it's like, no, I don't have the money to give you, but at least I know that you will have something. You will have water. Like I've never been one of those people to be like, get a job, get like I actually watch. There's a YouTube. I don't know if you like to explore YouTube, but there's a YouTube channel and it's called Soft White Underbelly. You're welcome. No, it was scary. Okay. Um, I've never been one of those people to a soft white underbelly. There is a channel on YouTube. It's called Soft White Underbelly, and I know you're probably like, why are you plugging this channel? Because for me, I watch that channel and I think about where I could have been. Like, had situations been different in my life, one of those people could have been me. But I'm grateful that I had people that cared enough about me to come and get me. They cared enough about me to come and get me. When I say come and get me, hi Jamila, I don't just mean like, oh, they came by and picked me up. No, I mean like they saw me where I am. This is why I be having these nurture conversations, because people saw me where I was and they didn't talk about me. They didn't like make me feel bad. They're just like, hey, and then they shared their experiences with me. And for me, that has always helped me, is when someone shared their experiences. Like I thought about like when all of my friends or the people around me, they were telling their coming out stories, and I was like, I don't really have a coming out story. Like I just kind of just been doing me my entire life. Like I didn't have to be like, hey, I'm gay, or hey, this is how I am. I just was doing it my whole life, and then I felt bad. Like I don't have a coming out story. Like why don't I have a coming out story? But it's like I just been doing me this time around. That's all I've been doing. So that as I listened to people and they were coming out and they were telling about their stories and they were talking about like how their parents made them feel or how their siblings made them feel or their family members just made them feel, I felt so bad. Like I felt so bad. Like I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. I don't even want to talk about it because I can't imagine like telling people your truth and then people making you feel bad for your truth. I couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine that. And then people saying that they can't live the life that you want, or even I feel so bad for the people in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, hell, the 90s, the early parts of the 2000s that were like gay and couldn't come out and be gay. Like they couldn't be like we could be. It's gay everywhere. Like gay everywhere. But the people couldn't come out and say that they were like, cause their family members was gonna disown them, or like all the shit that be happening to the trans people. Like all of these things is so hard for me to like comprehend, because it's like I couldn't imagine somebody hating me because of my sexual preference. That's just like I can't imagine people hating me because I'm black. The reality of it is that I know that it happens, but I just can't imagine that. I can't imagine a parent looking at their child who identifies not as they want them to, but who identifies as who they are, and they say, get out, or you're not my child, or anything along those lines. I couldn't imagine that. And I think about how many times people have to deny who they are, deny themselves just to make other people happy. That's the compliance um that's the compliance stage of emotional blackmail or emotional manipulation, whichever one you want to call it. It's where we just comply. Me and my friend was laughing earlier because we wasn't laughing at the situation, but we were laughing because we understood it. Like we were talking about the brat, and we were like listing all of the, because we're gay, so we were listing like all of the different scenarios where it's like, yeah, the brat been gay for as long as we knew that she was gay. But then we talked about the interview where she said she wouldn't do it because she didn't want her grandma to be looked at. She didn't want the church people to talk about her grandma. And we was like, oh, we completely get it. We get it. But to deny that you actually are was like, it's cool. Like you won't have to deny it. Just, I don't want to talk about it or something, but don't deny it. And then one day be like, yes, surprise, look at me. We already knew that a long time ago. You probably right now know people in your family. Like this is, if you're watching this and you are someone who is still in the closet, or you identify as bisexual, because most people don't think bisexuals exist. I do. I do. But if you identify as bisexual or are a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I want to encourage you to come out. I want to encourage you to tell your family. I want to encourage you to walk in your truth. And here's why I say that. You survived a global fucking pandemic, monkeypox, Ebola, polio, a really high STD rates your entire life. If you have not made the decision to be happy, be happy. Live for you. I did a video earlier today, and I thought the positive affirmation for today is think for yourself. What worked for your parents, your brothers and sisters, your nieces and nephews, cousins, grandma, aunties, uncles, it might not work for you. That might not be your path. Find your path and walk it. If you identify as being gay and you probably feel like it's best for me to just, wait till I get out of my parents' house, or not say anything, just be married and have kids and do all of the normal stuff, you are only causing yourself delay. Again, I'm not a mental health professional, but I can tell you this. If you continue to delay your happiness, you will be miserable. Miserable. You can have happy, oh, I'm happy because I have this. I'm happy because it's temporary happiness, when you could be happy, like happy, not just because you're gay or bisexual, but just happy. You don't have to have the stress of like somebody finding out or somebody outing you, because even that is a lot. Like people find out that you're gay and now they're manipulating you, they're emotionally manipulating you. I'm gonna tell everybody this: if you don't do this, like there's people out here, like there's real. If you might not believe it, there's people out here who do manipulate gay people, and they do gay shit, but while they're manipulating the gay people. But if somebody was to come out and say, "Oh, I saw you," if we be real, like how, like even we don't even got to talk about like families or relationships. Let's talk about our jobs. How our bosses be fucking manipulating us. It's a position open and they come and tell you like, yeah, it's a manager position open. I just need your assistance like this. And then you helping them, you staying late, you filing, you logging, you cataloging, you doing all this extra shit, right? And then you go back and ask them like, hey, how about that position? And they're like, oh, we filled it. Don't you, wouldn't you feel some kind of way? Because it's like I was just busting my ass. You came and told me I was under the impression that you was going to give me the management. I'm doing all the manager work. And then you ever look at who they put in. Oh, sorry, y'all. This is kind of affect me a little bit. You ever look at who they put in those positions? And you looking like, oh, I know why you got there. Because y'all golf buddies or y'all turn up buddies or, y'all, you ever put the one and two together? We don't even think about that. Like if I was to say, oh, emotional manipulation, you wouldn't think your parents, you wouldn't think your boss, you wouldn't think your employer, you'd probably think the person you in a relationship with. You wouldn't think your friends, you wouldn't think your siblings, you wouldn't think none of that because you would think about the person you're in a relationship with. That's because we normalize it. We normalize our family talking to us like we're shit. We normalize it. Like, oh, that's just them. That's just what they do. When in reality, somebody should be like, you shouldn't say shit like that. Like a parent or an adult telling a child or telling anybody they're gonna be big as a house. You don't speak things like that over people's lives because whether you believe it or not, power lies in what you say. I say I'm going to have nurturing conversations with people on multiple different platforms all across the world because that's what I plan to do. I wake up every day and say, I'm going to walk in light, love, and positivity because that's what I'm going to do. I speak powerful. I don't I don't sit up and speak negative and just be, oh no, I don't. Even with the whole Brad situation, I was just like, I can completely understand why she didn't do it, but we were just laughing like she thought nobody knew. And I told my friend, I was like, hey, you remember she dated Ella Iverson? She was like, I didn't even know that. Oh, yeah. That was real. That was real, real with the brat. Like, I don't know if y'all know the brat, but yeah, that was a real, real. I remember that was real, real. Real, real. They was covering for her for like, whew. But I get it. I understand. And I'm happy for her. And the brat loves Judy. I'm happy for them. She looks happy. She looks happy. You don't have to walk around with that no more. You happy. Living her best life. That's all I want for everybody. That's all I want. Whatever it is that you want, long as it's positive. If you like, oh well, I'm just gonna stay in this relationship because they was there for me, or because they looked out for me. Don't do that because of guilt. Don't stay there because of guilt. Like I know you probably have love for that person, but don't stay in that situation because you are afraid that the person won't love you anymore. If the person really did love you, they will want what's best for you. They would. I don't even know you and I want what's best for you. I don't even know you and I don't even know you and I want what's best for you. And that's because we all should want what's best for each other. I want you to know, like, I want you to, as you are leaving this nurturing conversation, I want you to walk away with, like, wait a minute, am I being emotionally blackmailed? Like, your mama call you and be like, hey, if you come over here and you run to the store and give me some banana pudding, I'll make you, I make you a banana pudding. And you're like, yeah, I really want a banana pudding. I was wanting something sweet anyways, and then now you thought that it was your thought to go to the. No, it's all emotional manipulation. People be doing it all the time. I'm telling you, I was thinking about myself. Like, yeah, I don't. It's a no for me. I don't want it. Like even when parents be doing kids, oh, could you? No, I don't want. I don't want them to feel like that. I don't want. I don't want them to have that feeling. I can't put the feeling in words, but I don't want them to have that feeling. It's like I don't want anybody to have that feeling as a result of me. I don't want it to be like, oh, well, I thought you loved me. Nah, I don't I would rather you just tell me yes or no, and I'll be good with it. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I'm gonna let y'all know the stages. Six stages. There is demand, often disguised as I care about you, for of your choices, who you should talk to, where you should go, what you should do. There is resistance. If you don't do what I want you to do, then you know you're not gonna get none tonight. I'm only laughing because I've heard, man, when I tell y'all, I've heard a lot of stories about people. It's a lot. Anyways, there's pressure. Um, if you love me, you'll do it. I'm only thinking about us getting something to eat. There's threats where if you go out that door, I'm not gonna be here. I'm not gonna be here when you get back. Direct, indirect threats, compliance, where you don't want to, I don't want to hear her talking, or I don't want to hear him talking, I don't want to hear them nagging, so let me just go ahead and do it. Compliance and repetition. That you comply, and then the next time they be like, well, last time you stayed at home with me, last time you did. Listen, it's 2022. It is actually October the 9th of 2022. And I had to say it like that because November, December, that means there's like 2 months and some odd days left in this year. Actually, hold on, I'm going to give y'all the exact count because I did this and I was kind of shocked. I did this and I was kind of shocked, right? Um, there are only 12, 12 Mondays left in 2022. 12. Do you know how fast those Mondays? Tomorrow is going to make 11 Mondays. Do you know how fast time is going? Time is going incredibly fast. And if you haven't decided that it is time for you to be happy, what makes you happy? I'm not talking about superficial happy. I'm not talking about, oh, because I got a lot of money in the bank. I got a nice car. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what makes you happy. What makes you feel loved. Next Sunday, I probably talk about this, but um, I realize, we go our whole life like, oh, I just want somebody to love me, to treat me right. I want somebody to do all of this right, and we want that. We say that with the objection of it being someone outside of ourselves. But what I realized for me, and it might not just be for me, maybe it's for you too. But what I realized is that the person I wanted to love me was me. Think about it. Follow me down here. Follow me down this road for a little bit, right? If you truly love yourself, you will not allow any disrespect to happen at any time. And when I say disrespect, it's like once you say something, you wouldn't have to go back. Like, oh, I'm tired, so I'm gonna just stay in the house. Girl, you should just come out. You're not gonna like disrespect yourself. You're like, that's not disrespect. It really is, because if you know that you're tired and you're denying your body the opportunity to rest, you're disrespecting yourself. You're like, nah, because I'm gonna get some rest later on. And then later on becomes something else. And now you was like 2 days go by, you ain't slept. People, you will set healthy boundaries. You love yourself, you will set healthy boundaries. You will know, like, okay, my family has this thing where they talk about people and they don't talk about them in a positive way. There's no uplifting, there's nothing. So I'm going to set a healthy boundary and say, you know what? I'm not going to go to Thanksgiving because, Thanksgiving coming up. I'm not going to go to the Halloween party. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to create my own little thing. Start having your own little thing. Because here's the thing that people won't tell you. If you don't speak to your mother for the next 50 years or next 2 months and however many days, she's still going to be your mother. Your brothers, your family members are still going to be your family members. You just don't talk to them. And if more people understood how setting healthy boundaries can lead to a healthier life, and I don't just mean healthier like, oh, I'm working out, I'm dieting, I'm doing like healthier. Like I asked someone, I was like, do you just sit on social media all day and just scroll? Like you don't do nothing else other than that? And then they're like, well, I kind of, and I was like, well, that's kind of why I feel like you are. This is my opinion, but I kind of feel like that's why you're always down there. Like you're sad. You don't have. I said, number one, you probably need to change the people that you're scrolling on, the people you have on your Facebook or whatever social media. Me, I'm scrolling, I'm seeing just started a business, I'm getting nominated for an award. I'm thinking about starting, just got my LLC. I'm seeing all this. I'm excited. Like this is that's where I want to be. I'm excited. Look, I'm surrounded by entrepreneurs. I'm surrounded by people that's like really bossing up their life. That's like, you know what? There's a fucking pandemic. I wasn't really doing anything before the pandemic, but now I found my passion, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm surrounded by those people, and we all uplifting each other and making sure we all good. We can all, there's a big old table out here. We all can sit down and eat. My brother said, if everybody is owning gas stations, who gonna pump the gas? I was like, whoever wants to pump the gas. What if, that's where they have the robots or the AI and they just pump the gas for it? I mean, why does it have to be like somebody has to be up here, somebody has to be down here? Why can't we all just be equal? I I don't think that's too far fetched. I don't think that's too far fetched. I think that we are definitely in um, perilous times. I always wanted to say that word. I definitely think that we are in times where we need to be paying more attention. Like we gonna go back to that community. I don't know if you grew up in a community where it's like you can go. There was a house in the neighborhood where you can go and get food, and or you could be safe there. Like you can get clean clothes. I don't know if y'all grew up in a time or during that time, but there was. I grew up in that time. Funny enough, that was our house, but I know hoods across the world where there was a house where people felt safe. We're gonna have to go, like, not going to, like, we will eventually be in those times. Did y'all see that there was a shipping thing, then there was a trucking thing, and then there was a train thing? Like these are how we get our food. Like this is how we get our food, our livelihood, the things that we get come from these things. Like the ships couldn't come in, the truckers couldn't go. Then they were like, we're shutting down. They were talking about the train unions or something like that. And it was like, if it's shut down, I was just looking like, whoa, wait a minute. That's how they get the food to us. If they go on strike and the truckers people are still figuring out what they gonna do, and then you can't get where's the food gonna come from? And then you go to the grocery store. Like I was like, I thought I was balling in 2021 because I could go to the grocery store and get a bunch of fruit and be good for a while. Now it's like I get two pieces of fruit and an apple. And it's like I done spent $40. How? How did I just spend $40? Well, last time I came, it only cost. But I said all that to say this, right? Pay attention to the your emotional well-being. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to emotional manipulation. If someone is using blackmail, emotional blackmail, demanding, applying pressure to you, or using guilt or fear or anything like that to make you do something, listen, you are an adult. It is time for you to stand up and take back your life. Take back your life. Don't just do it because, oh, I don't want to hear them argue. I don't want to hear them talk about it. No, take back your life, because if you will do that now, given all the things that life has thrown to you right now today, if you will continue down that path, you will never get off the road. Because your boss going to guilt you. Then your kids are going to guilt you. Then your family members, you're just going to be a bucket full of guilt. And then you're going to be older, and then you'll have the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And you shouldn't live like that. You should be happy. You should be happy. That was the 6 stages. This has been Emotional Blackmail Blackmail. Thank you for tuning in to Nurturing Conversations podcast. I tried to stay on task. I tried to. I think I did a really good job tonight. I'm actually, growing and learning and building. Um, I'm organizing a new setup. I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a lot. You see, I got new lights. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm pretty excited about this. Thank y'all for tuning in. Remember that it is important for you to use your words. That is the only way that anyone will ever know what you are feeling and what you are thinking. I will never let a live video, vlog, short, or anytime you see my beautiful face and hear my beautiful voice go out without me telling you to love yourself. Now, right here is when I say your faults, your fears, and your failures. And that is because when we are up here, we loving the hell out of ourselves. Yeah, I'm bossing up. I'm doing all of this. We good. But when we are down here, we don't feel like it today. I don't feel like getting out of the bed. I don't feel like doing anything. We still need to show ourselves that same measure of love. Like it should be the same all across the board. Love, like love. Not just tolerate yourself, but love yourself. Know yourself. Trust yourself. And for the love of humanity, the love of it, just be yourself. Why? Because you need you. I need you. The world needs you to be exactly who you were created to be. It needs you. I need you. You need you. You need you. I know a lot of times we conform to what our parents or the people around us who they want us to be, but the reality of it is you have to live you. I heard someone say like, if you wake up every day and you have something that's on the inside of you that you are striving to do, that's what you should be doing. I'll tell the personal story where I was like, I didn't want to be a teacher. I come from a long list of teachers, 6 generations back, professors, tenured professors, associate, all of these things. Like these people are like real serious educators, and I did not want to be an educator. And then the very thing that I was denying myself from being has made me the happiest. Being a teacher has made me a happiest. No, I'm not in a university or at a school. I'm teaching music artists about the business of music, and it makes me happy. It makes me happy to know, like, one day, it might not happen right now, but one day you're going to go to sign that deal and you're going to be like, you know what? This is what I need. You're going to be able to negotiate. That makes me happy. And it's not even like one day. Like I'm talking to artists and I'm seeing an immediate return on my vocal investment. Ooh, I like that. I'm seeing immediate return. And they're referring other artists to me. I got on a panel. For the first ever, I got on a panel. I was one of the speakers on the panel. I've been processing all week. Like I worked so hard to get to this point, and I'm telling everybody this. So maybe this is what I'll talk about next Sunday. The importance of rest. I have come to understand. People like I don't ever get tired. I don't get tired. I be doing. When I tell you this, it is so important to rest. Take it easy. Sit back and just do nothing for a couple of days. Who gonna do? Sit back and do nothing. This is why I meditate. This is why I do all of the things that I do. It's put me in a space where I can understand rest. I worked so hard. I remember I would be up for days, like putting all of this stuff together. And now I'm in a place where it's like, just rest. Just sit back. Just watch it work. And for me, it's like, this is dope. I'm at a place now where it's dope. Like last week, it's like, okay, now what do I need to be doing for these next 2 months and a couple of days or a couple of weeks that I need to do? Because I have a date set for 2023 where I want to do something really big. And of course, I'm going to invite y'all to go. You probably won't be able to make it. Maybe you will fly out and make it. But I have something that I am going to do in 2023. And I want to make sure that everything is lined up and it is good. And for me, I'm going to do that. There's been a fire lit in me. I can't stop smiling, just knowing like this is where I wanted to be like for forever. Just happy. Not happy because I have a nice car or a house or anything like that. I'm happy that I have those things. But just happy with myself, feeling loved, feeling supported, and not just necessarily from people outside of me, But me, I'm at that space where I love myself enough to do that. I love myself enough to walk confident and be like, I'm the greatest music administrator this side of heaven. When I say that to people, they be like, oh, tell me more. It's a conversation starter. I don't know about y'all, but I be using what I got. I use it. Before I wouldn't have, but now, hey, I got a destination in mind. And that destination is legacy. I don't want people just to be like, oh, she was the girl with the podcast on YouTube. No, I want you like right now, while you leave this podcast, or if you're coming back to watch this after it is no longer live, I want you to walk away being knowledgeable about emotional blackmail. People should talk to us about this stuff. So I just had a nurturing conversation. That's all I got. Um, Make sure you get your toiletries, non-perishable food items. Set some water to the side. I keep saying set some water to the side. Set some money to the side. Get you some water. Get you some water. Water for your soul. Get you some water. And if you are out there doing a freak leak, you know what a freak leak is. If you're out there doing it, I don't know if you're paying attention to the numbers. High. The numbers are high. Go get tested. That's all you got to do. Get tested and make the person you, not make them like, but go together and get tested. You survived a global fucking pandemic. You should make sure that you are safe. You are safe and everyone around you. That's all I got. You know what time it is. If you don't know what time it is, I suggest you watch the Finger Sweetie because they will tell you. If you haven't already, check out my video for today. Thank you to everyone who came over last night for Saturday Night Vibes. If you don't know what that is, it's a live karaoke I do every Saturday. It's the livest karaoke on YouTube. You should come. Until next time, I love you. Peace.